Continuing in the reading from the Gospel according to Matthew, that then began, then Herod secretly called for the Magi and found out from them the time when the star had first appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search carefully for the child. When you found him, report to me so that I too may go and honor him." When they heard the king, they went and looked, and the star that they had seen in the east went ahead of them until it stood over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were filled with joy. They entered the house and saw the child with Mary, his mother. Falling to their knees, they honored him. Then they opened their treasure chests and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. This is the word of God for the people of God.
And thanks be to God.
A lot has been made over the years over just what happened that day. We know, or over the centuries rather, different schools of thought have emerged. On the one hand, some said there were in fact three kings from different areas. Others said, well, they were really magi or Zoroastrian astrologers. Some said, well, since there were three, what were their names? Well, tradition has, does anybody know, for bonus points? Does anybody know? Balthazar? Melchior? And Gaspar. Ooh. Somebody needs to go back and do some remedial Sunday school. But no.
I got it was multiple choice.
2 out of 3 isn't bad. Well, the tradition of giving them names, where did that come from? Because the Bible doesn't tell us their names. Nor does it tell us where exactly they came from, just the East. We don't know really anything about them. Now, in the Renaissance, artists were trying to depict biblical scenes, and gosh, 2 of the Magi were old men with big flowing beards. One of the Magi was a young black guy. And where did that come from? The Bible doesn't tell us. So we come up with a lot of things to describe and figure out what it is exactly that we're reading. Because for all these centuries, we have been reading and hearing this story, and, well, some of it you just got to take on faith. Now, again, with the idea of how many there were, we don't know that there were only 3. There could have been more. We know that there are 3 gifts, but we don't know that there weren't other gifts. The Bible just mentions 3. So we assume that there's 3 magi, 3 gifts, and they all showed up on the very night that Jesus was born. But that's not what the Bible says. The Bible says the Magi just showed up. It doesn't say it was on December 25th. So, now that I've debunked a whole bunch of cherished childhood memories, I hope you'll stay with me just a little longer. You see, there's so much we don't know about the characters, the events in the Scriptures. But we know that there's something about them. There's something about these stories that have been passed down to us across the centuries that meant something to the people who first put quill to paper, or something to us. And the challenge for us in the 21st century is to say, what on earth does this mean for me? Now, so often, we sing about, the we three kings of Orient are. But I would put it to you this morning that this story isn't about the three kings or the three magi, but it is in fact a story about two kings. On the one hand, we have someone known through history as Herod the Great. Now, he is the one who called himself Herod the Great. Nobody else called him that. So he was his own PR. The reason he called himself Herod the Great was because he finished building the temple in Jerusalem. He is the one who built the aqueducts. He's the one who built the Colosseum and the Hippodrome and all these other public works. I mean, Jerusalem was a just incredible place if you were in the first century, the first couple of decades, because things were getting built left and right. Now, Herod himself wasn't doing the building. Sometimes it's good to be king. So he hired other people to do it. Now, some of these people didn't have much choice. It was do what the king says or die. I think I'll do what the king says. Now, where do you think he got the money from? Taxes. The Romans got their share. After that, what you got was yours to keep. So he took money from people. He put them to work. Now, if you're broke and exhausted, you're less likely to cause a revolt. That was the point. That's what he was doing. He was trying to make sure that the Romans didn't have any excuse to take him off the throne. So we have Herod the Great. And if this was a pantomime over in England, we'd say, boo.
Yes.
On the other hand, we have, when in doubt, say Jesus. We have the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, very God of very God, true light, Messiah, all of the names that we talked about during the devotional that we had this past month. The King. For centuries, the people in Jerusalem and Judea had longed for that moment when God would send a Savior, a Messiah, a king that would liberate them once and for all from everybody who stood between God and God's people. Into this scene come the Magi. Now, they are, by most historical records, we call them Magi because that's where we get the word magician from. They were most likely astrologers or even priests of the Zoroastrian religion, which is in, well, what we now call Iran, in that region. They didn't know the stories of the Jewish Messiah. They didn't understand, they didn't care about the Romans or about the prophecies or about temple. They had been inspired by God, led by God, prompted, however you want to say it, to go and see what? To see a baby? That doesn't make sense. To see, do what?
See where the star is.
To see where the star led. So, in this, scene of, astrology, of prophecy, political intrigue, these foreigners show up, and they want to know where he is. Now, if your culture, if your religion had for centuries been telling you to prepare, to look, to anticipate, you would think everybody they had met would know where the Messiah would be born. But nobody did. So let's go talk to the king. Let's go to the top. Because maybe the king, the Messiah is being born in the palace, and we'll get to meet him. He's got the heir apparent, the crown prince. Herod the Great. He's terrified. Because he knows, deep down, he knows what this means. The only reason he's king is because the Romans put him there. He doesn't want a Messiah. He doesn't want the reign of God to come in. He's out for number one. And that's him. The Magi take him at his word. Go to Bethlehem. That's where you'll find him. Now, I don't know if you've ever followed a star. I mean, they taught it back in the military days, or sailors. If either you are sailors, you know what it's like to navigate by the stars. Now, I have followed the North Star and the Southern Cross and different stars out there. I have yet to get so close to a star that I could see where it stopped. Because if you look at a map, the distance between Bethlehem and Jerusalem isn't that far. How they could tell the difference of a star moving a quarter inch to the left on the map is kind of a mystery. But they did. They found this king. They found this baby. Now, King James says they worshiped him, the King James version. Other translations now say they paid him homage, or they showed him reverence. Because that's what you do when you come into the presence of a king. You kneel down and you say, I'm not worthy and woe is me, and please don't kill me. They did this. Not because they had to. Not because they were obliged by their belief system or their political leanings. They did it because they could see and understand that God, God, had something amazing about to happen. You see, the reason I am fixing on this morning is because I think maybe that's what we can learn from this in the 21st century, is that we have a choice to make. We have a choice between serving the Herods of the world or serving the King of Kings. People have been asked to make that choice all along. Some have made that choice and paid for their decision with their life. Oscar Romero, Bonhoeffer, Jan Hus, and others. They said, we will serve God alone. Our master is not Herod, by whatever name Herod is called. But we serve God. And the Herods of this world don't like it when you make that choice. Because when you make that choice and you're saying, I love my family, I love my country, I love my team, I love chocolate, whatever it is that you love in your life more than anything else, to say that all those things that I love so dearly, I thank God for that. Thank God for your family. Even the quirky relatives that, every family has. Even your country, even your team when it loses, even when they have the wrong brand of chocolate. But when we say we love God, and we serve God, and we worship God, and we honor God, we're not saying all those other things in our life are not important. We're just saying that in the entire cosmos, from one end of the universe to the other, when it all comes down to it, and all is said and done, at the end of the day, bottom line, what matters most to me is God. Now, that's not an easy thing to do in the 21st century. Because there's a lot of people out there, right here in Stevensville, right here in this valley, who think that you are off your rocker. I mean, come on. Believing in a spirit, reading from an ancient book and believing it. Love God more than my wife, more than my country, more than myself. Who does that? Well, as Christians, we do it. Not because we're trying to impress the Herods of the world, not because we're trying to earn brownie points or karma or whatever else you want to call it, but simply because God is. The book that we read, we don't worship the book, but we worship the one that the book references. We don't worship the cross, but we worship the one who is on the cross. We don't worship anything, anyone, but the one.